The world watched in disbelief as a bizarre diplomatic overture ignited a geopolitical firestorm at the top of the world. The year is 2026, and the Arctic is now a chessboard for global powers vying for resources, trade routes, and military dominance. Recent statements by former President Trump about purchasing Greenland, and Russia's swift, calculated response, have exposed a new era of rivalry. What was once the realm of scientists is now a battleground for generals and strategists. Melting ice is unlocking vast reserves of oil, gas, and minerals, as well as new shipping lanes that could reshape global trade. The United States, Russia, China, and others are staking claims, seeing the Arctic as key to their economic and military futures. The Greenland affair has forced the world to confront the dangerous implications of this new great game. Control over Arctic resources and waterways could determine which nations thrive in the coming decades. Russia, seeing the Arctic as its strategic backyard, is prepared to defend its interests with formidable resolve. The incident has exposed deep fractures in international relations and highlighted the inadequacy of current legal frameworks. The calm, icy expanse of the Arctic is now a theater of tension, where every move is scrutinized and every statement carries immense weight. The controversy began with a proposal many dismissed as a joke: Trump's idea to buy Greenland from Denmark. Framed as a real estate deal, it reduced a sovereign territory to a commodity, shocking the diplomatic world. The Arctic, long ignored by Washington, suddenly became a focus as Russia and China ramped up their activities. Trump's Greenland gambit, though clumsy, signaled America's intent to compete in the Arctic. The global reaction was swift. Denmark called the idea absurd, and European allies condemned it as an affront to sovereignty. The proposal challenged the post-Watude order, where self-determination and territorial integrity are paramount. While quickly rebuffed, the strategic logic behind the idea lingered, forcing nations to clarify their Arctic strategies. In Moscow, the move was seen as a direct challenge to Russia's sphere of influence. Russia interpreted it as a sign of American intent, prompting a swift and severe response. The Greenland proposal inadvertently spotlighted the Arctic's growing importance and escalated tensions in a region already on edge. What seemed like a diplomatic blunder became a catalyst for a new era of Arctic competition. Moscow's reaction to the Greenland affair was anything but dismissive. The Kremlin issued a sharp statement, calling the American posture neo-colonial and a violation of international law. Russia's response was more than rhetoric; it was a strategic countermove. Foreign Minister Lavrov declared Russia's sovereign rights over its Arctic coastline and warned against outside militarization. Russia backed its words with action, launching large-scale military exercises in the Barents Sea and Arctic Ocean. Nuclear submarines, advanced warships, and bombers demonstrated Russia's readiness to defend its claims. The message: Russia has the military might to enforce its red lines. By framing the U.S. proposal as imperial overreach, Moscow sought to divide the U.S. and its European allies. The Kremlin's response solidified its own claims, challenged American leadership, and positioned Russia as a responsible Arctic stakeholder. The Greenland gambit backfired, giving Russia a golden opportunity to advance its strategic agenda. The Arctic rivalry had entered a new, more dangerous phase. Denmark's response to the American proposal was immediate and unequivocal. Greenland is not for sale. Prime Minister Frederiksen emphasized Greenland's autonomy and the right of its people to self-determination. Since 1979, Greenland has enjoyed extensive self-government, with Denmark retaining only limited powers. The idea of selling Greenland was politically and morally impossible, and deeply insulting to Greenlanders. The incident united Danish politicians, who condemned the proposal as a lack of respect from a key ally. A planned U.S. state visit was called into question, highlighting the diplomatic rift. For Denmark, the episode was a reminder of the challenges of dealing with great power politics. The Danish response defended the rules-based international order and the rights of smaller nations. By refusing to entertain the sale, Denmark and Greenland sent a clear message: the Arctic is not a commodity, but a homeland to be respected. Their stand became a rallying point for sovereignty and international law in the face of great power ambition. The Greenland dispute exposed the complex legal framework governing the Arctic. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, defines nations' rights over territorial waters and exclusive economic zones. The real contention lies in claims to the extended continental shelf, where countries can claim rights to the seabed if they prove it's a natural extension of their land. Russia, Canada, and Denmark have all submitted overlapping claims to areas like the Lomonosov Ridge near the North Pole. The US is the only Arctic coastal state not to ratify UNCLOS, weakening its legal standing in disputes. This gives Russia an advantage, using UNCLOS to legitimize its ambitions while the US is sidelined. No single country owns the Arctic Ocean. Much of it is high seas, open to all for navigation and research. The real battle is over the seabed and its resources, with overlapping claims slowly adjudicated by international commissions. As tensions rise, there's growing fear that legal processes could be overtaken by raw power and military presence. The question of who owns the Arctic is less about law and more about who can enforce their claims. The Arctic's importance comes down to three things: resources, trade routes, and military position. Climate change is unlocking vast oil, gas, and mineral reserves, making the region a 21st century prize. The U.S. Geological Survey estimates the Arctic holds up to 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of its natural gas. Rare earth minerals essential for high-tech industries are also abundant. For Russia, the Arctic is its economic future. For China, it's a vital supply source. Melting ice is opening new shipping lanes, like the Northern Sea Route, slashing travel time between Europe and Asia. Control over these routes offers immense economic and strategic leverage. The Arctic is also a military crossroads, the shortest path for missiles and bombers between North America and Eurasia. Cold War-era bases are being revitalized, and military infrastructure is expanding. Russia's Northern Fleet and the US focus on the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap, highlight the region's strategic value. The Arctic is now a strategic high ground no major power can afford to ignore. The race for the Arctic is about securing the future, economically, militarily, and geopolitically. The Arctic is rapidly transforming from a zone of scientific cooperation into a fortified frontier. Russia leads the military buildup, reopening and modernizing dozens of Soviet-era bases along its Arctic coast. The Northern Fleet, Russia's most powerful naval commander, operates nuclear submarines and advanced warships. Russia's fleet of nuclear-powered icebreakers keeps the Northern Sea Route open and supports military operations. New Arctic-specific hardware and polar-trained forces show Russia's long-term commitment. In response, the US and NATO have increased their presence, reactivating the Second Fleet and deploying advanced aircraft to the region. NATO allies conduct frequent joint exercises to improve Arctic readiness and signal resolve to Moscow. This escalating cycle of deployments increases the risk of miscalculation and accidental conflict. The Arctic, once low in military tension, is now a potential battleground. The maneuvers of today are setting the stage for tomorrow's conflicts in the polar north. The Arctic's escalating competition is a direct challenge to NATO. Once a quiet front, the alliance's northern flank is now a critical strategic concern. The Greenland incident and Russia's assertiveness have exposed divisions within NATO over how to respond. Some members want to keep the Arctic a zone of low tension, others demand a robust response to Russia's buildup. NATO must present a united front and adapt its military posture for Arctic conditions, ice-hardened ships, better surveillance, and cold weather training. The inclusion of Finland and Sweden has strengthened NATO's position, but also increased the risk of miscalculation. As NATO and Russian forces operate closer together, the chance of unintended clashes rises. The alliance must balance deterrence with dialogue, keeping communication open to prevent accidents. The Arctic Council's work is largely suspended, making cooperation harder. NATO is walking on thin ice, trying to deter aggression without provoking conflict in one of the world's most sensitive regions. We've reached a pivotal moment. What began as an absurd proposal to buy Greenland has revealed the raw struggle for the Arctic's future. Russia's assertive response was a declaration of intent. The Arctic is its strategic destiny. The world is now on notice. The race for the Arctic is on, with global power at stake. The Arctic is no longer peripheral. It's a central arena of competition for resources, trade, and military advantage. International law offers a framework, But military power and ambition are challenging its authority. Russia's first-mover advantage has forced the US and NATO to scramble to catch up. The military buildup creates a security dilemma, fueling a dangerous spiral of escalation. As the ice melts, it uncovers both new opportunities and old rivalries. The contest for the Arctic will shape the global order. Will it lead to cooperation or a new, much colder Cold War?